Mr. X here with the Extreme Channel coming at you. This is really weird today because people are watching. People are watching live. Yes, that's right. Right over here, there's a laptop with a camera, and there's actually another YouTube video going on that if you missed out on it, too bad, because it was fucking amazing. And I don't keep those on the channel once they go live, so maybe you should get up earlier on a Saturday. And if this is your first time watching the channel, you're probably freaking out. Who the fuck does this guy think he is? I'm going to drop a lot of F-bombs today. I don't know why. Sometimes I'm like that. Maybe it's because I'm around this bloody-ass, crazy-looking statue. But that's what we're going to do today. We're going to review this piece from Prime 1. It is from a video game that I don't know anything about, but it is a pretty badass piece. And if you saw my review on Dead Man by Prime 1, I bought that more because not necessarily a love of the character, but a love of the art. And I was speculating that this is what this was going to be. And I'm always right, unless I talk to my wife. Mr. X here with the Extreme Channel, and I have a crazy piece here. This is by Prime 1 Studios. It is the Hunter from Bloodborne video game, which we're going to talk about in a second. This is quarter scale. What quarter scale means is it's 1/4 the size of what it would be like in real life. So for example, if I was 8 feet tall, I would be a 2 foot tall statue. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. Check my math. So I purchased him because I just thought it looked fantastic, and I actually do have another piece from this line from the Bloodborne video game. It's the Lady Maria review I did, so go check that out. Here's a picture. So the Bloodborne video game, from what I understand, is you're a hunter like him, and you are going out to kill other people. I don't know if it's RPG, shortened for role-playing game. When I played video games when I was young, RPG was my favorite. My absolute favorite was Shining Force, but I love the Final Fantasies, the original 1, 2, 3, some of the other ones that spawned off from that whole series. So I don't know, I think this is an RPG. Lady Maria, the review I did, she's a villain. This is the protagonist, the hero. I believe he's the main character you can be. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Even if I'm not wrong, I'm usually corrected by my wife. And essentially, he's kind of a guy that was brought up in, not medieval times, but, turn of the century, that type of stuff, turn of the 19th century. And he came from kind of middle upper class, but eventually he started hunting and killing people. And I think they do it for money, not necessarily for sport. And there's also a non-human element to this, which I'm unfamiliar with, because as you see, this is kind of a diorama, which we're going to talk about in the concept and design. So this guy does not appear to be human to me. Purchased him directly from Prime 1 Studios. They did their economy shipping, so shipping was like 30 bucks. It was a very large package that had 2 layers of white styrofoam and tons of different pieces. So let's break that down really quick. The base is one piece. This pole in the back is another. There's 2 fence pieces. The guy on the ground is one piece minus his 2 arms are separate. His sickle, scythe, whatever you want to call that, hook, the big hook on the back is another. These 2 lights up here are another piece. The hunter is one piece minus his arms. So all that goes together, and there are a ton of switch outs on this piece. So let's check that out. So first of all, if you don't want this really tall ass light, which it looks really cool, but if it's too tall for your display, too tall, then you can switch it out with this guy right here. So here's a picture of the switch out, and then just kind of a comparison. Here is a picture of the light. Then the other switch outs you have are with the hunter himself, and they are all right arm switch outs. Now, 2 of them come with every single statue they made. They made 3,250 of these, so 3,250. However, 2,000 of them are what we call the collector's or regular edition, and 1,250 are the exclusive. Traditionally, the exclusive comes with a little Easter egg, something different, something extra. This Easter egg has a 3rd right arm switch out, which we're going to look at all of them. They both price for the $799, and sometimes the exclusive is a little bit more depending on what the switch out is. Sometimes it's not. So the three different right arms you can have on this guy, one is this huge blade, sickle type weapon that I show here. This is kind of my favorite. But very closely, equally, I also like this huge big ass axe he has. And then last is the exclusive version that only comes with 1,250 of these. It's a cane. Kind of stupid if you ask me. What kind of badass killer is he if he just carries around this cane? But realistically, maybe he's so badass that's all he needs. So in my opinion, this is an exclusive that is not needed. However, I got the exclusive because it was available and it was the same price. So a lot of different switch outs. Let's get some measurements on him, which is going to be kind of difficult, but technically from his gun to the back, it's 21 inches. The width, I always have problems saying width on camera. Girth, about 18 inches. And the height with this is damn near 32.5 inches. If you want exact dimensions, go to Prime One or Sideshow's website. So Prime One manufactured this and Sideshow distributes it, but you can also get it directly from Prime One like I did. So we're going to do a transition in between the different subjects we do. We just got finished with the background and we're going to go into the traditional concept next. The reason we're doing transitions in this particular video is I'm going to talk to the people who are watching right now, because they could be making faces at me or getting naked, weird shit like that, and I don't even know. So hang on. So now we're going to talk about concept and design of this piece. So part of me can't really judge this because I've never played the game, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is an actual character from the that you fight, or if it's just a random guy they put on there. Kind of an interesting note too is when we do the close-ups of the pictures of this, after I put them together, I can't get a close-up of his face, just the way my camera, where's it at? It's way back there, tries to fit underneath this. So when I take them apart, because this is actually going to go back to my office, it's kind of that medieval theme. I didn't talk about this in background info, but at my office I have a kind of a Court of the Dead, Bat King, Eridan, kind of a medieval knight theme, and I think this goes very well with that. But for this particular piece, starting at the base, you have a lot of different things going on here. So obviously, you know, he's killed one of his enemies who's dead. His enemy is inhuman due to the long arms and some of the long fingernails we're going to see in some of his facial features that you'll see. You see some spilled chemicals, which kind of have to tie to the hunter's storyline, because he did get very ill and he was looking for a cure. So I don't know if that was intentionally made about that. He's standing over him. Not only is he victorious with, you know, the weapon in the right hand, but in his left hand he has a gun, so obviously someone else is coming at him, or maybe he knew someone was going to take a picture. I don't know. But he's standing over him, very victorious, and this whole background, like I said, very 19th century, kind of reminds me of a Jack the Ripper type thing, and it's very, very cool. The paint and sculpt is excellent, which we're going to go over, but really cool concept. And what I really like about this is the fact that it is a diorama. So essentially, you have a massive base with a lot going on. You have 2 quarter scale characters, and it was $799. Where, you know, recently Prime One puts up Ryu for $13.49. They put up Predator for $14.99 or $15.99, however much that was. So this is really a good deal, and my guess is that's for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is the license for Bloodborne is probably much cheaper than Predator or Street Fighter or Dragon Ball Z. And second reason is I don't think this is very popular. I think this is still available on both Sideshow and Prime One because not a lot of people play this. Or, this isn't always the case, but a lot of times people that play a lot of video games don't have money to buy an $800 toy. They're toys. Design-wise, there was a couple issues with this guy. So first of all, the arms right here on the right, they are all held by a peg and key. Or a peg. So I'm really worried because gravity will naturally eventually make those fall off. The other design issue, I don't really say this was a design issue, but the fence itself is very loose. So that concerns me. These are actually 2 separate pieces. One connects to this pillar, one connects to the bottom. Then lastly, really pissed me off, I came down to this, I unboxed it yesterday. This right arm you have to keep pushing back in. Well, not only that, but I came down this morning and I moved it like this, and this entire right arm not only fell off 2 inches, which really isn't a big deal, but it broke right in the middle. And I'm using my normal Loctite glue that I use, and it will not go back together. There's something on the middle, some kind of material. So it's really just setting in there for now. So really hurts the resale value, because I could see myself reselling this down the road, not because it's not awesome, but because it's just something I'm not as familiar with, so I don't have a tie to the character itself. So those are a few issues I think they could have helped with the design. So I think this video is already running a little bit long, and as we dive into the paint and sculpt, I'm gonna kind of highlight over some stuff because there is so much going on with the fact that we have 2 characters and we have the base. There's just tons and tons going on. And really quick, I'm going to transition out now because I want to let a little secret in to the people watching. Starting at the sub base here, you have kind of this standard black sub base with this decorative inlay on the outsides, and it consists of this gold and black ring with all these different designs, and I can't quite tell what they are. They look like angel wings. I don't know if it's specific from the game. And every few inches or so, you have this vertical post with silver and blue, whole bunch of different colors. It's really neat, and it very much reminds me of the Maria. So I also think the Eileen statue, which I'm not getting from this line, would also have that. And you'll see some dust on here, which I think this piece has been out for a while. It's crazy to me that these pieces still collect dust in the boxes. Moving on to the regular base here, starting with the stonework on the bottom, it looks fantastic. They did a great job with the sculpt on it. So first of all, you have stones jutting out all over, and you have different textures. I like that. So it really shows that when the sculptor was working on this, he paid attention to detail. And that same can be said with the stones moving up the wall on the sides and the back around the stairs. Again, jutting out. And you know, the paint application is pretty cool. So different colors of browns and grays and all that in there. And then also you see kind of this water line in between the bricks where like the mortar would be. So very, very cool. And some of the bricks are crumbling and old, and that's seen on the other side of the staircase too. And they have this awesome water effect by the candles and the spilled what I call medicine containers on the front. Very much reminds me of Queen Studios Anaconda versus Crocodile and the Prime 1 Killer Croc. Very cool water effect, and it's deeper in some places, some of the places by the water bottles than it is in some of the other parts of the statue. And then moving on to this inhuman guy that he killed. Again, very, very cool. So first of all, the blood app looks pretty decent. I wish that it wasn't just paint. I wish there was some sculpt to it. I think that was a miss, but it has kind of this not shiny, but a little bit of glistening effect, and it's faded as it runs down the walls, which makes it look like it's real blood running as the kill occurred. And his legs are twisted all over the place, so his legs are either broken, and his pants are fully sculpted with cuts. So it wasn't just one blow that killed him. Essentially, it's the big bloody blow on his try and say that fast. Big bloody blow on his black back. But very cool texture on his pants and the coloring, the seam lines up the side, the folds. And check out his hands here. This is what makes me think that he's not human. Very weird, really crazy, weird stuff on his hands. Very creature-like. And his other arm is 3 times as long as a normal human arm would be, the one that's holding the sickle on the back. And then check out his face here. So, reminds me of that movie with Eliza Dushku where there's cannibals in the woods. He reminds me of one of those. And to take this picture, I actually had to take him apart. And then on the back of the base, you see this cool sewer grate on the bottom. Again, just adds detail. And what's crazy is this is the back part of the statue that you never see. And speaking of the back part of the statue, look at the pillar that's going all the way to the top. It's really intricate and detailed, and it looks so cool, man. They did so much design and concentration on this, and the aging on the paint just looks fantastic. And the same can be said about the light pole. This really knocks it out of the park. I'm actually changing where I'm going to put this at because the light pole looks so great and I need to find some height clearance. So again, very aged, very rustic, some ornate designs, can't use proper vocabulary this early in the morning. And look at the light pieces. I like how it's broken. The pieces are plastic, so I wish they would have done a clear resin instead. But for weight purposes, because they are only held in by a magnet, that makes sense. But very cool rustic design. And that same flow with the fence. So it looks broken in the middle because it's two different pieces, but you have all this different aging and wear on there with spikes on the upper and bottom sides. So again, there is a ton going on and we haven't even got to the main character yet. And I think the main character is excellent, but I think everything else I just went over is more excellent. So yeah, it's to me, it's a piece of art. It's not about the character. It's not about Bloodborne and the Hunter. It's just, this is an awesome, it's kind of a museum statue. Like if you saw this in a museum, you'd be like, that's cool. That's very cool. So let's start at the Hunter. Start at his boots as we always do. So he has these huge metallic shin guards that have this weird faded yellow-orange color on them and some brown. And they're strapped in by these awesome looking leather straps and buckles. And it's a different color brown than he has on his boots. And a lot of folds in his boots, and it's very reminiscent of the right time. So, to the time period, and they go all the way up almost past his knees where they have another cool buckle and straps. And I think that Prime 1 just does an awesome job with buckles and straps, especially when you think about belts on Prime 1 1/3 Batman's. And his pants follow the same pattern, and you see a little bit of blood splatter on the right knee and the right top of the boot. And again, great job on the pants. You got some seam lines and some folds. These kind of look like modern day jeans, but I don't know what they wore back in that time period. And then moving up to his package, he doesn't have one, which is interesting. It's not interesting, but the belt buckle he has, this I'm a little disappointed in. It is fully sculpted, it does stand out, but it's not as good as the buckles on his boots. It almost looks too long, but again, it might be accurate to the time period. And then moving up his vest, this is where the detail is just out of control. Look at the buckles, the different colors, the layering, the texturing. Looks like real leather. Not only the buckles holding his vest or girdle together, but his sash buckle going all the way from his top to his bottom of his torso. Looks really, really cool. There also is a sheath with a knife on the right side. I don't know if I got any pictures, so I don't know if you're seeing that right now. But then his cape that he's kind of over his shoulders is held together by this sculpted metallic chain. And you see some blood splatters on this. And underneath he has this little white shirt with some blemishes on it. Again, very reminiscent of the time period. Also makes you think of the the fact that he's from a middle class type background or upper class. And then look at his coat flowing in the wind. This is fantastically done. Again, there's some more buckles and straps on the back, and it's flowing in the wind like you just killed this guy, and there's this creepy wind going through. And there's some regular wear that looks like it's not from this current battle, but then the bottom is soaked in blood, and it's fresh blood. And I think they did a really good job on this blood here, a lot better than they did on the base. It almost has a 3D glistening effect to it. Looks like it's coagulated a little bit. Really well done. I just love the flow of this, and the different colors and textures on the cape also look very, very good. Then let's check out his gloves. So again, his left arm gloves with more straps. There's got to be 60 straps on this guy. Good sculpt, good tone, good colors. And on the outside he has kind of this protective gauntlet, very reminiscent of what he has on the outside of his boots. And then the time period specific gun. Really cool with the big barrel and all these intricate markings on the top and the triggers on the back. Fantastic sculpt. And then let's take a look at his other arm, the huge ass sickle axe. I love this, how the handle of it is all strapped up and bloody. Great sculpt on it, and same thing, those straps run all over the axe like it's holding it together, and the blood effect. I wish they would have added some of the blood effect to the that they had on the back of the cape to the axe, kind of make it more coagulated in 3D, but it still looks really good. For me, with statues, the bloodier the better. And then let's move to his portrait, the last thing. So first, his hat looks fantastic. Again, it's torn in the back. I wish I had a hat like this. I would wear it all the time. And some cool texture on this. Makes it look like real leather. Some pins pushing it together. Sailor's hat almost. And then his face. So first of all, he has the scarf and kind of the outer layers on the neck covering it up. Great folds in it. Great sculpt. Some really cool colors. And then you can't really see much. You can see part of his ear and his eyes and his flesh tones, but they look fantastic. I really appreciate his eyes look real. They're glistening. Yeah, pretty cool. You can see a little bit of his hair, but not much. So those are my thoughts on this piece. I love it. I'm a big fan. If you if you just like it, it doesn't matter if you like the character, I'd recommend you picking it up either through Prime One or Sideshow. Compare their shipping rates. If you live in the US, go ahead and put the Prime One in your economy cart if it's allowing that. I know sometimes it's turned off lately. But yeah, now I got to take him apart and take him to work in a few days. And I'm pretty sure I know where I'm going to put him, because where I was going to put him, he was not going to fit because he was not tall enough. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know which statue that you have bought and you didn't know anything about the character. So go ahead and drop that comment. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. It helps me out. If you don't want to help me out, you just watch the channel and that helped me out. So fooled you. Also, if you're first getting into this or you're already really into this and you want more exposure to statues, there's a ton of Facebook statue groups out there that are fantastic to join. I'm an admin in a few of them. Go ahead and check out the one in my bio. Click on that link and make sure to say Mr. X sent you so we know to let you in. So really appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, take care.